Uh, so yeah, obviously you guys. I guess you didn't think about doing some Patreon recordings last time.
Yeah, that is accurate.
That's okay. But I would like for the three of us to set aside a day after Christmas, possibly sometime in the new year, in the first couple weeks of January, where we really kind of pick apart what we want to do with our Patreon, redo the logo, right, with Kurt added in, rewrite the intro for the show, and really talk about how we want to attract people to be part of our community through Patreon and Discord. And like we're having to retool the commercial break because Patreon's commercial break is going to be quite the hill to climb, and that's okay. But the hardest thing I have personally with that is I tend to not like to focus people and push them in one direction. You know,
But
I mean, I like Patreon.
I get Spotify wanting to. We're talking about Spotify, or was it Patreon?
Nope, Spotify. I apologize. I was thinking about Patreon because of our communities, but Spotify. I mean, I get it. I know where you're going. Yeah, I get that Spotify. They're gonna want to feed their own engine, and I like Spotify for music, but I haven't tested it out for real podcasts. Like I follow the radio shows sometimes. When I get a lot of road time and I run out of material, when a radio show does 4 hours in the morning, that's a lot of podcasts you can listen to. But I'm actually kind of afraid to use Spotify because if I want to listen to my shows, I want them to go in order and I just listen to it. I don't want it to hit a show and then play some music and then maybe jump into the show over here like botched. I don't want it to mix up botched. I want botched in order. Actually, I want every show listened to in order. That's just kind of how my brain works. So I haven't tried Spotify.
So you can do that. You can absolutely do that because I've been listening to more podcasts on Spotify, especially since my stuff is on there. And when I go out walking, I just use Spotify for all my listening. So it just makes it a lot easier. So yeah, it does work pretty well. It does work pretty well.
And thank you for the I might try it personally, but still, what do you guys think? I still kind of hesitate to say, hey, get off of all the other podcast sketches you like and come over to Spotify because that's the way we're going to make some money.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of that part of it. I say listen wherever you can listen. But if people ask me for the link to the podcast, then I would point them towards the Spotify link, which used to be the Anchor link. I mean, it's not really.
Sure, it's not a big deal, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only way we're gonna get easy commercials. Is that so? In the meantime, let's make up our own. And it is right about the actual real time. I psyched everybody out 30 minutes ago, and I went live. And dude, Kurt, I was absolutely going. I'm the only professional on this show. These guys are like 2 minutes late. They can't even be bothered to show up. Then Joe showed. I was like, "Why'd you go live?" I'm like, "Because this time's like, no, we do 8:30." Oh yeah, my bad.
I'm like, you started it a half an hour early.
My bad, yo. But all right, y'all, you guys ready to go?
Yeah.
Get ready to laugh out loud with Wise and Nerdy, the show hosted by two hilarious dads who are bringing their unique blend of wit, wisdom, and nerdiness to the airwaves. From sharing hilarious anecdotes about their own experiences to giving advice on navigating the ups and downs of life, these two dads have got you covered. But that's not all. They're also obsessed with all things nerdy. From comic books and sci-fi movies to video and board games. So whether you're a fellow dad, a pop culture fanatic, or just in need of a good laugh, tune in to Wise and Nerdy and join in the fun.
Oh, it's always fun when Daddy comes back home with the milk. No, I'm really talking here. And that crack of the can that you hear, that was A&W root beer because nothing says you're old like A&W.
That's right. A&W Zero Sugar Root Beer for all of your root beer needs.
Is this the whole podcast is just commercialized?
Yep.
That's what we're doing.
I've got some A&W root beer upstairs. Maybe I should go get some.
I was gone last week. We're going to talk about that with the Christmas parties talk tonight. And hope everybody had a great holiday. If you're live, it's coming up. But we all know, most of us listen on the podcast. And so this will come out after Christmas. So I really do hope that you had some great holidays and had some fun. And New Year's is coming up next. So how about your New Year's resolution be to come out live to twitch.tv/wise_in_nerdy at 8:30 on Thursday nights and hang out with us. And we're going to do the new intro. But I was thinking tonight, two funny dads, and it leaves you guessing which one's not the funny one. Joe's not the funny one. But yeah, so we're all dads.
Charles.
Some of us are granddads, but Joe was worried about me. But guess what, everybody? I came back with the milk, and that's what I do. It's cool. All right.
But we send you out for a loaf of bread.
Joe's got too much power at his fingertips, and it's not a great thing.
That's okay. I was using these sounds during a department meeting this week.
Did we finish? You didn't finish. Joe, you have one job, buddy. You're supposed to get Daddy tell me a story. Okay, two jobs. Tell me a story and the bad dad joke. And there's nothing.
I'm not going to put the bad dad joke in there.
At least
I never put it in there.
Well, one of you two put Daddy tell me a story in here, or I'm going to put it in there, and then we'll turn this car around. We're going home. And no Christmas for you two. None.
Okay. All right. No Christmas for you. Got it.
What? No.
The question of the week.
All right, man. I am happy to be back again. I didn't miss it. I missed it so much I started 30 minutes early tonight, but that's okay. Fever dreams, right? Fever dreams are kind of heavy on your brain. And from a medical standpoint, it's just your mind trying to compensate with what the body's doing. It's fighting off the fever. And this is that time of this year, right? It's the season. Tis the season as I've watched both of you mute your mics and do. So what is your worst fever dream that you can remember?
Oh, I've got a fever for more jingle bells.
Wham! Need more wham!
Oh man, I don't know. I a lot of times I forget my dreams pretty soon after I have them, and so like if I don't like repeat the dream to myself in my mind or to somebody else, it's gone.
Oh, mine was so crazy. I will always remember it.
You will always remember it.
Yeah.
I mean, I had some reoccurring dreams as a kid that were just weird, like crazy weird. But as far as fever dreams, no. Like one of my only recurring dreams that I ever had as a kid, and I may have mentioned it on the podcast before, but in my dream, a monster made of poop grabbed me and shoved me in the washing machine. And back then, I don't know if I had never seen my mom move the laundry from the washing machine to the dryer or what, but in my dream, I got sucked through the little holes where the water gets drained out into the dryer. And then I got tumbled about. And I had that dream like 3 or 4 times as a kid. And it was a weird dream, but I still remember it to this day. But I was probably like 5 when I had that dream.
That is times. A weird dream.
Didn't we talk about this, the recurring kid dream thing at one point?
It
sounds really familiar. Because I don't really have any fever dreams per se. But the scariest recurring dream, and I swear I mentioned this, was being chased down an alley by a Cookie Monster who thought I was a cookie. And it came up over and over again when I was a kid.
and now you're doing a podcast with someone who loves Cookie Monster.
Yeah, apparently.
I mean, I don't think you're a cookie.
Nope.
And I'm not going to chase you down the street.
I'm a sweet little boy like a cookie, but that's about it.
But you haven't had, so, a fever dream really is something that tends to stick with you because you can't sleep. Your brain is just feeding you all. It's almost like when a computer goes, hey, if you watch like a 90s movies and your computer's getting hacked and all of a sudden all these things are happening on your screen. That's kind of how a fever dream works. Neither one of you have really experienced that.
I don't think I have.
Not
either.
really, no.
Well, buckle up, kiddos, because I have multiple times, but this particular time is I didn't realize I was getting sick, and the public library had at the time the ability to check out video games, and the World of Goo had just come out. Y'all familiar with that game from a couple years, maybe 10 years ago or so?
I was going to say 10, 15, somewhere in there. Yep.
All right. So I had gone and checked it out, and I loaded it on my computer, and that's why I love it. And the whole idea is you're stretching things and moving things so these little black balls of goo can get to the vacuum and get sucked up. I've got it on my computer right now. I have it on Steam or Epic or somewhere. And so I play it from time to time still. And I was just playing it. And as I was playing it, apparently I was building a fever and my health was going downhill. And so I ended up, taking some Tylenol, going to bed, and all night long I was playing World of Goo. But it's that dream breaking thing where it's I'm actually trying to put things over, and then suddenly the scene changes, but it's still World of Goo, and I can never win, and I could not stop playing. It's not like me watching myself play. Like the whole dream is the video game, and I'm trying to play it, and it was just I woke up going, I will never play that game again. And I thought I wouldn't. I really thought I would, because it's like it felt like hours, just constant. It was almost like I was awake, but obviously I was sleeping. But it was just over and over. And I got up, took some more Tylenol, and it went back to sleep for about an hour, and then it started again.
Oh, that's the worst.
It was. I woke up the next day, erased it from my computer, and sent it back to the library with my wife, because like, get that out of this house, demon, be gone, because it was that. Now, before we move on there, so we want to hear your fever dreams, right? Hit us up. We've got an email, wnnShow@gmail.com. Of course, you can hit the speak pipe. That's what is it, Joe? Come on. Where's the banner? Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe. He's trying to pirate World of Goo just to do something right now. I see it on his face
Always.
all day long. wiseandnerdy.com/calldad is that. And yeah, so we'd like to have you on the speak pipes. Kurt, you look frozen and yet blinking at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not frozen. I'm waiting for the hammer to drop.
No, there's no hammer. There's no hammer. I did distract myself to forget what I was going to ask you guys before we moved on to the next thing.
Sweet.
There was something.
Roll that dice.
And while he does that, Kurt, how'd you enjoy the Mike Woodard episode where you just couldn't be bothered to show up?
Yeah, I had to actually delete it off my computer.
What are you nerding out about now?
All right. And hey, for those of you who really love this show and want to be part of it, we're open to different segments. We can throw different things. If you have questions you want to ask, different things we need to do, it is all good there. But let's go to what we have written down. Now, Kurt, you don't seem to be nerding out about anything tonight.
Yeah, well, it's part of it was that we're in a little bit of an in-between spot, right? Demon Slayer's over with. I already talked about the collection thing that I'm nerding out about. And Joe put in, I'm presuming Joe put it in, put in Percy Jackson.
Have you started that?
Of course I did. I watched both episodes back to back. And the new season of What If doesn't start until tomorrow.
All right.
So yeah, Percy Jackson was awesome.
And it definitely followed the book a lot better than the movies did.
I didn't think the movie was bad.
No, but it was very different than the books. Sure.
But I dig the fact that they're making it a series, because I think you can just flesh things out a lot more.
Yeah. I liked the first 2 episodes that came out. I'm excited to see where it goes. For those that have no idea what we're talking about, it is on Disney Plus, a new series. It's they did the movies a while back. They didn't finish the series with the movies. They gave up on it. But it is a series called Percy Jackson and the Olympians by Rick Riordan. and kind of the gist of it is, you remember all those Greek stories where Zeus and all them came down and had kids with mortals,
and all them, yeah,
and
all them, you know, they came down and set up the Greek
all them gods.
apart.
Yeah, well, in the books that still happens, and so the main character Percy Jackson is one of the kids. Mr. Jackson. Is one of the kids of one of the gods, and he doesn't know it at the beginning, and even then when he finds out, he doesn't know who his dad is, so that's something he's got to figure out along the way as well. So yeah, it's pretty good.
It's the Flash.
Yep, that's exactly who it is. Yep.
Hermes?
Yep. Well,
no, it's a crossover from DC. It's actually the Flash.
But he does live in the house of Hermes for a little while.
He does. It's true.
So what I thought was really interesting is they appear to be serializing the Lightning Thief. My guess would be the entirety of first season would be my guess.
That would be my guess too. And they called the series Percy Jackson and the Olympians instead of Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief or whatever.
Right.
And so, yeah. So to me, because they named it after the entire series, the entire book series, instead of just Percy Jackson or whatever, it means that they are hopeful and are planning to do the whole thing. It'll be interesting to see if this gets popular enough. There is a follow-up series after the first 5 books.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
And it's Percy isn't necessarily the main character in the follow-up series, though he is in it. But yeah, good stuff. Yeah. I don't think I've actually finished the follow-up series. I might need to. I
haven't read any of the books.
Me?
Oh, any of the books at all?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah. It's an interesting modern story that incorporates the Greek mythology. I like it. So, and Rick Riordan he's got a couple of different series. So this one is obviously the Greek gods, but he's got one with the Egyptian gods as well. And he's got a couple other series, and they're supposed to be in the same universe.
I was going to ask that because I asked my son about the Egyptian god one because my son read them all, and he said he didn't know if they were in the same universe.
Rick Riordan wrote a short crossover novella where the main character from the Egyptian god one and Percy Jackson end up together for a little bit.
Ah, okay.
So he wrote a short story about that. Yeah, but other than that, they have hardly any overlap. There is I think the first one's called the Red Pyramid, the Egyptian god one. There is a mention about a location that's in the Percy Jackson series, and it kind of hints that, oh yeah, that's where they are, type of thing. Mm-hmm. Like we don't go over there, type of thing.
Yep.
So yeah,
this is my no square. Don't throw your lightning there. No, different thing.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it's a good series, and I'm hopeful for the TV show. So,
gotcha. I saw it dropped. I will get to it because I really did enjoy the movie, and both of you are saying that this is better. So that is very cool.
Well, so as someone who hasn't read the book, Kurt, would you say that the series is better than the movie, or no?
Not significantly. No,
okay.
I think the series is just giving us an opportunity to get more into details, which I like. And frankly, you deal with mythology, and I'm in.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to end up being quite a bit different than the movies, because the movies took quite a few liberties. Like, for instance, Charles, you've seen the movie, right?
Yes.
A big thing that they did was they aged up the characters in the movie. In the movies,
teenagers, yeah.
Yeah, in the movies they're like 16, 17, whereas in the book they're a lot younger, and in the TV series they're 12. which that might be how old they are in the book. It's been a little while since I've read the book, but
okay.
Yeah.
I will say when they revealed his age as 12, it literally made me go, "Oh, okay, so this could run for a while and keep the same actor."
Yeah.
Without it feeling ridiculous.
Well, and I went ahead and looked up the age of the actor because I was like, how old is he really?
Probably 23.
42.
No, he's 14. He'll turn 15 in a couple weeks.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Yeah. So it's not that much. It's only a couple years different from his character. So I like it.
Well, mine is slightly different.
You're slightly different
because I'm here.
That's right.
And you haven't even mentioned, Joe, how I dressed out for the show, man. It's cold. It's cold. I did the throwback.
Baby, it's cold outside.
No. You're not getting this canceled again. But I am wearing, for everybody at home, I am wearing the Snorlax onesie that our good friend Barry sent to me. Because I think on the show, Pokemon Go Podcast, I think I said, you know what? If somebody found me a Snorlax onesie that actually fits me, I'll wear it. Thinking that would never happen.
And you said you'd wear it for like a month or something or 2 months. Yeah.
Something like that. And like a week later, it shows up on my doorstep. I'm like, how is this a thing? And it fits. It fits. It it works. So I have my Snorlax because it's cold. Don't do it. It's cold inside.
Get that space heater.
So but yeah, I'm getting things accomplished and not with Midjourney. Kurt, Midjourney hates your photo, man. I have tried every which way.
Midjourney hates your face
to get it simple. I mean, I even loaded clean copies of Joe's avatar for the show, which you see right there in the corner, and my avatar in the show, which and even that exact watermark. And said, do your picture, Kurt,
in this style
as an anime character, no background matching this style, and linked all three. No, just no, just nothing. I don't understand. Well, so we're out to get an artist. We'll figure it out. But that's not what I've accomplished. Have y'all noticed how smooth it is on the video today?
Oh, do you have your Cat 6 set up?
I do indeed, sir.
Woo-hoo!
So a couple weeks ago, we had a rough show where it kind of kept pausing, and when the kids are on the internet, it is up and down. And then right after that, December 3rd, I want to say it was, I went to be on Wait You Haven't Seen with TV's Travis, and we were talking about one of my favorite movies, and his whole camera thing was blurry the whole time, like bad back and forth. There was the delay. Not that his camera was bad, but I knew it was a connection, right? And there was the delay. And when I started to talk, I heard him in my real time, and apparently I was delayed back to him. So I started to talk, and he would start to talk, and then he'd stop and let me talk. And hopefully he recorded that well. I haven't listened to my episode yet. It's coming up next in the rotation on my podcatcher. And not exactly on Spotify, but if you'd like to support this show, you can go listen to Wise and Nerdy on Spotify and every other podcast out there. So, all right. But I was like, man, I cannot do guest spots and have it be like this. This is horrible.
Yeah.
And so I looked up again how much the cable would be. I think it was $30, which was never the big deal. The big deal was having, at the time, the thought process was electricians were going to have to come out and run it because I'm not climbing up into the attic and doing it because I can't fit. And the conduit was already there, and they have the little snakes and whatever to help pull it through. And it was just going to be a lot of money. So I just went to my brother-in-law and said, hey, I've got a project for you. What do you think it would take to run about 200 feet, which was an overestimate, by the way. I've got like 30 feet of extra cable in my studio now.
Always have extra cable. Yeah, always have extra cable.
100%. So, but yeah, he goes, oh, I can, it's not that big a deal. I was like, all right, cool. I'll order it. And like $40 later, because I got a pass through little thing too. We come through. Anyway, I don't know what he paid this little minion of his in the neighborhood, but last Sunday, the little guy got up in the attic and they ran it through the existing conduit that we had for the power all the way out here. And it's in the ground, and it's outdoor ground burial rated, but I think it's still in the conduit. And I am getting a gig down in my studio now.
Nice.
So happy. And the full 41 up, which it should be a gig down, gig up. It's so stupid. So stupid.
Because it's coax.
Maybe it might be. They might not have launched a fiber yet in my neighborhood. Because
well, you would know because you'd have a different connection in the house.
Then it's coax, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they didn't, but you were at a point, Kurt. I'll get to that in a second because the last part of that story is the kids love it too because I have a mesh network and one of the mesh nodes is here in my studio to be the outer ring, if you will. But of course, and they've
got all their little rooms out there, so now they get a better connection.
Well, now because it does work on the Wi-Fi, so you get a good signal. But still, the further out you get, it only boosts so much over Wi-Fi.
Right.
But because it's coming straight from the router into my gigabit splitter, I've got a cable into that mesh node. And so, yeah, they're getting much better stable signals in their barns.
Nice.
Yeah, Kurt, I had saw a little while back because I'm on Comcast and I'm okay with that. I mean, honestly, their competitor AT&T is the worst.
Yep.
I won't even get into that. We might get into that a little bit later. But they ran advertising like 12 gigs down, and they're like, cool. And I called them up. It's like, hey, here's my account, here's my address. What would it take to upgrade? Because that's what's the cost on it? They said, oh, you already have this, and this. It'd be no extra cost. We're gonna bump you up right now. Cool. Now, keep in mind, Kurt, it's still coax, right? It's never gone up. And I forgot to check it. And then my brother-in-law, I was talking to him about it the other day, and he had said he had called and they kept putting him off. And he goes, oh, what they did was they have plans to probably run fiber out here because that's got to be fiber speeds, right? And they just haven't. So even though the guy said I would qualify and bump me up to it, it still isn't actually in my area.
Yeah. So when you get really fast like that, so your modem has to be like a DOCSIS 3 in order to support those speeds, at least from a coax standpoint.
I think mine
coax up,
future-proof mine when I bought it.
At coax up, you might be able to theoretically get gigabit up, but I've never seen it in practical use. Like and
all fiber is what you're saying.
Yeah, and so I've got fiber right now. It's gigabit up and down.
That's what I want because I know it's just there.
Yeah. Now I will tell you, the reason why I wasn't on the show that week.
No, sir. No, sir. You're getting ahead of the train. You stop.
Oh.
Roll that dice.
Well, we already did that one.
I
think only done one, so everybody can guess what that was.
Can you dig it?
That is, what do you think about?
All right. So, hey, here's the reason I was gone last week. What do you think about Christmas parties? And, Joe, I would like to know, I'm just setting it up and we'll get into the stories here. I'd like to know if your office does Christmas parties, if your church does Christmas parties, if your family does them. Kurt, same thing. Mine, I was gone last week and I'm just keep it short because you already know. But our company believes in celebrating, but we're so wide now. We literally go across the whole state. So 2 weekends ago, I went down to Columbus, which is about 2 hours south. We did a party there. We drove another 2 hours south to Valdosta, which is at the Florida state line, did a party there for a company, then drove back up. And then I went from Macon that Sunday morning from the hotel straight into Atlanta, which is about an hour and a half up to go do my Sunday gig. And then last week started on Wednesday, went 4 hours to Savannah to where our billing office is. And we own the billing company. So went there for Thursday night, which is why I wasn't on the show, to do the party there, which was a really good party. Open bar, amazing food, good times were had. And the hotel had a Tesla to take me back and forth to the party, which was pretty awesome. That was so much fun. And then Friday morning we got up, drove 2.5 hours back over to Macon to have a bowling party, which I don't know why anybody wanted to do that for Christmas, but they loved it. They can have the party they want, and they loved it. So we did the bowling party. And then came back home Saturday morning, was home for about an hour and a half to load up all my gear to go to my home office in Athens to have our big Christmas dinner party for our company. Great party. I did Fandom Face Off there, but I did it for the employees. So the beauty of the software that I have for Fandom Face Off, which you should check out over on DC Digital Media on twitch.tv. The VOD's up there for another 2 weeks. And Joe was there playing with it the other night with me, and it's fun. But you can make it anything. And so I made it all about my employees, like the most likely to hit a deer, the most likely to say they worked the most hours, so on and so forth. And they got little prizes. Everybody loved it. It was a good test run for it. And then exhaustedly went to bed that night. Again, open bar. Good stuff. Got a really nice present from my partner to get up to go to my Sunday gig, to then drive 2 hours up to North Georgia, which is Habersham. And I'm telling you these cities so you can Google them at home and take a shot every time I drop a city name, because there's a lot of I covered the entirety of Georgia in 2 weekends and 5 Christmas parties. I liked mine, and the billing parties went, and that was pretty much it. So what do you guys think about Christmas parties?
I mean, I've definitely had some hit or miss Christmas parties. Some that have been fantastic, some that have been meh. So I've actually had 3 Christmas parties over the last week. So I had one with my current team at work where I guess it wasn't technically a Christmas party. It might have just been just a work outing because it wasn't Christmas themed, but they planned it around the Christmas time on purpose. So, take that for what it was. We went and got food, and we did an escape room. And it was my first time doing an escape room, and so that was a lot of fun. Apparently, the room that we did had a 38% record of people getting out. And it was an hour-long room. We got out with a little over 10 minutes left. So that was fun.
I've never done an escape room. That sounds fun.
Yeah. So it was locker room themed, and so we had to find clues that gave us the passcodes to a bunch of the locks, or we had to find keys because a couple of the locks were keys. And there were a few twists and turns along the way. It was a lot of fun, and I don't know if everyone thought it was fun, but because I ended up solving about 60% of the riddles myself, and there were 9 of us in the room. So I don't know if people would have had more fun if I wasn't there, but I had a fun.
What did you bring the room down, Joe?
Well,
did they just hate you so much?
Every time he solved a puzzle, he just said, "You're stupid."
I did not. But I just wonder if some people felt left out because I was solving so much of it. You know what I mean?
Get smarter. Get smarter.
Well, okay, I was about to say you got to rein it back. Let other people have fun, those kind of things. But you did just say y'all finished with like 18 minutes to go.
With 10 minutes left, yeah. So it took us about 50 minutes to solve it. But yeah, I found it to be fun. I also found it a little misleading since they said that it was 2 to 10 people could participate, and there was one puzzle in there that I don't think could have been done with just 2 people, because it physically required a minimum of 5 hands to accomplish, unless we didn't solve it the way it was meant to be solved, which is definitely a possibility. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun. I had a Christmas party that was a church one, and it had a lot of good food. But all in all, it was just a normal party, to be completely honest. It was very tasty though, and the kids seemed to have a lot of fun. But there was a trivia challenge at the end, and so that was cool. Our team ended up getting 2nd place in that. It was a Christmas themed trivia challenge, so that was fun. And then Joe is just, hey, I would go stomp everybody's hopes and dreams out and win everything possible at this party. I get overly competitive. It's true. And then I had a Christmas lunch with a group today of former coworkers from my previous team. Not the manager though. He's not invited to these. But we had a white elephant, and shared a great meal at a restaurant called Aubrey's, and it was fun. I liked that, and that's mostly because I really like that group is what made that a lot of fun. And so I think all in all, it depends on who's with you at the party. Just like you were saying, it's who's with you. You and your buddy had a lot of fun, right? Nothing.
Maybe.
Charles is just like, meh.
Yeah.
Charles is like, I am the party. It doesn't matter who else is there.
Okay, I kind of am, man. Look, okay, I'll give you one little insight, right? Not sure how, on the meter of empty stocking fun to woohoo, we made our goal on that meter, right? Where I was with alcohol, but there were some young ladies from the billing office. They're 20 somethings, and they were like wanting me to take their picture, so I did. I knew one of them, like one of them works in my office, and then the other two, they're all be friendly. I'm like, sure, I'll take your picture for you. And I took the picture, and they're doing the fun one and the silly one, blah, blah, blah. And so I started to message it to the young lady from my office because, of course, I have her number. And like, I want it too. I was like, okay, what's your number? And like, oh, aren't you smooth? I'm like, yeah, I'm so smooth. I don't even ask for your number, and you give it to me. So there's that. And she laughed, and she started walking away. And I'm like, I don't know what triggered my brain, guys, but I went, not for nothing, but you walk away like a drag queen, and that killed, and it just went from there. So, Kurt, you look disappointed. What's with you in Christmas? Do you hate Christmas? Why do you hate Christmas?
No, I love Christmas. I hate Christmas parties. And
you perform at them too, don't you?
No, hardly ever. If there's, and I love performances. Like if I'm like, I did a performance gig a couple weeks ago, and I love it. But Christmas parties tend to be forced gatherings. And so, for example, I went to a Christmas party Friday night, and it was for my company. Now I'm one of the leaders in the company. I'm like one of 4 on the executive team. I cannot tell you how much I didn't want to be there. And I work with these people. I know these people. My best friend is the president of the company. He knows that I don't want to be there.
And
yet I had to be there because that's sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But to give you an example how much I hate them.
That was really low, Joe. But
my mother-in-law calls my wife and says, so we want to have you guys over for Christmas dinner. And I said, no.
No.
And part of it, I think Joe and I may have talked about this a little bit last week, but part of this is that I am now of the age that, generally speaking, I'm not doing what I don't want to do. Generally speaking.
You actually mentioned that a few weeks ago, yeah.
And so Thanksgiving and Christmas are my sacred holidays, basically, where I'm staying home. They're for me. I don't care. And so, but Christmas parties, there better be a reason for me to go. And it better be purely social with no expectations, not obligation.
Right.
And right now, most parties like that are from obligation. And if I'm obliged to be there, I don't want to be there. So.
Okay.
Fair enough.
That
was me in everything with church forever.
Years ago, when I worked in video games, the company had done a Christmas party, and they had rented a giant yacht, and we were going to have everybody on the ship sailing around the harbor for a few hours, drinks and dinner and everything. Me and my department said, we don't want to go. So we're going to stay here, and we're going to have a LAN party playing Doom 2 all night long.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And we literally left the office around 3:00 in the morning. And it was awesome.
That, honestly, that sounds like my kind of party.
It was way better. We got pizza and just like nerded out all night.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And that kind of falls into like the bowling party. And I can acknowledge, maybe it's just me. I mean, my kids have been in bowling leagues. I go bowling, often enough, basically whenever we want to. I'm not a huge bowler, but nothing about bowling screams Christmas to me or office party. It screams something else to me that I'll just leave on the table, and you can infer what that screams to me. But but somebody would say that about us playing a Doom 2 LAN party, but it is what it is. So
roll that dice.
Dad joke.
Don't look at me like that, Charles. Charles is getting covered up. All right. So this one comes to us from Old Man Tup.
no, not the topster.
R.I.P.
Why, Tup?
boiling water. You
Say it
will be
again.
missed.
Say,
R.I.P. boiling water.
you
You will be
trash.
missed.
Do you not understand
You
how timing
failed
works?
because you weren't
with
listening,
chunks.
you jerk.
I was
And
saying
so
that-
now you get a second one
Who
from
wasn't
Old Man
listening?
Tup.
Who wasn't listening?
Now
when I
you
was
get
saying-
number 2.
No, I heard the stupid missed joke.
All right, now that he's muted, what's a snowman's favorite thing to grill? Ice burgers. That's from Old Man Tup as well, just for you, Charles. All right, you're unmuted. You can groan now.
Freaking humbug.
Okay, Charles, I'll just tell you a quick
No.
Christmas story. No, Christmas party story. It takes place at Texas Roadhouse.
Okay, I don't know why that made me laugh.
We don't have to. I was just trying to give you an out. It's all good.
Roll that dice.
Hold on. I'm not ready to roll the dice yet. I've got
Roll
like
that dice.
I've got like
Roll that dice.
a bajillion jokes from Mike
Roll
just for
that
you.
dice.
Oh,
Just for you.
No.
What do
are
you-
not? Why are you breaking the rules?
What do you
we
get?
did not just one, but 2 bad dad jokes.
What do
We
you get
have
when you
all the
deep fry
material to talk
Santa
about.
Claus?
We only have 20 minutes left in the show. No,
Oh.
Kurt. No, Kurt. We need to stick to the rules of the show. Otherwise, there is no show anymore.
I'm new. I don't remember the rules.
Anarchy stream. Now you get another one.
Joe.
Whatever you want. He can't hear. Oh.
Oh my God.
What goes oh? Santa walking backwards.
He is on crack, Kurt. I think he had too many Christmas cookies at his office party today. And by the way, his office party's in the basement, and all his coworkers are imaginary. But that's neither here nor there. There's something going wrong.
I've seen this before. This is not a Christmas cookie thing. It's Christmas peeps, the things that never should happen.
It's Charles. Have you ever seen Community?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like the Christmas episode where Abed is hallucinating the whole time. It's
Oh
all
my
good.
God.
All right, I rolled the
Roll
dice just
that
for you.
dice. Stay tuned for this commercial break.
Thank Jeebus. Oh,
Unleash your inner sloth with Snooze Master 3000, the alarm clock that hits the snooze button for you.
this is the worst.
Because mornings are overrated and productivity is for people who haven't discovered the joy of an extra 10 minutes of sleep. Snooze Master 3000.
Look, everybody, just hit patreon.com/wise_and_nerdy and celebrate the show. Oh my goodness. Now I understand why dads go out for milk and never come back.
They go out for eggnog this time of year.
Call your daddy and leave a voicemail. wiseandnerdy.com/call-dad.
If you're like me and have to do breathing exercises when you listen to this show, you can go find Calm. This show's not yet brought to you by Calm, but I sure heck need it right now.
Just channel your inner Adam Sandler. Goose Fraba.
So Joe doesn't know I slid down the slider on his volume so you can't hear him on the podcast. But check this out. Come see us live at Chattacon in January. What is it, 12th through the 14th?
Yep.
12th through the 14th in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Wise and Nerdy will be live, 2/3 of us anyway. And it was a last minute thing. We shot for the stars end of November, thinking nothing would come of it. And we are going to be doing Wise and Nerdy live at Checkon. We'll let you know the day and time when we get that information. All right, Joe. The bad part of the show is over. All we have is good stuff ahead of us. Roll that dice.
All righty.
Daddy, can you tell me a story?
No, go to bed. Oh, wait. No, we are going to tell a story, aren't we? So, Kurt, tell us a story about why you weren't on the show 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that's a story.
Yeah. So once upon a time, Kurt had fiber. And then one Friday morning, an ill-fated 8:30 chimed on his alarm clock and said, "Hey, remember how you were connected a minute ago? Now you're not." So I called Fidium Fiber, which is the fiber company up here.
That sounds like a Harry Potter internet company, by the way.
Yeah, it's the stupid brand that they made up for the company because the name of their company was associated with bad service, which was Consolidated Communication. I don't care.
So they changed the company name but didn't fix their service. It sounds like.
Well, and they inherited. Yeah. So I called them on Friday and they said, yeah, you should be able to get service restored by the end of the day. Cool. And that's kind of par for course, right? If the weather takes things out or whatever.
Sure. For our audience, do you go into an office every day, Kurt?
Not at all. I work from home exclusively.
All right. So it's kind of important.
So it's kind of important. Right.
All right.
Yep. So 4:30 rolls around. And right now I'm using my hotspot on my cell phone to try to get some work done. And 4:30 rolls around, no service. I call them and they said, "Oh yeah, we noticed there's a problem, so we're gonna send somebody out to your place on Monday morning. We have an appointment set." And I said, "A, nobody called me to verify an appointment for Monday morning. B, I can't wait until Monday morning. Like I make all of my money using the internet, and I every day that I have no internet service, I'm losing money."
Now this is you lost it on a Friday, is that right?
Yes.
And so this would take you down 3 full days.
It would take me down 3 full days.
So 3.5 days, give or
take.
All right.
Yeah.
So, gotcha.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. So I raised enough holy heck to have them come out Saturday morning, and they said somebody will be there by 10 a.m. 11:30 rolls around and the tech shows up and the tech says, "Oh, they told me a window between 10 and 12. Now I believe the tech.
Sure.
I have no reason not to believe the tech. They just lied to me to get me off the phone. All right, cool. So the tech goes, "There's a break in the line between the pole and the street. So we have to send out another team." I also believe that because I know how this works. You have your indoors guys, you got your outdoors guys. It's all cool.
And the break is not necessarily above ground. I mean,
right.
We're very clear about that, right? So
right. Yeah. And they said, okay, so somebody from support will give you a call and schedule the time for that to happen. Cool. Sunday evening rolls around because I've heard nothing all day Sunday, and I call them and they said, "Oh, what did the tech say to you?"
That's never what you want to hear.
No, not at all. And so they said, "Okay, we'll check into it and we'll give you a call first thing in the morning." They didn't. And so all of this is happening, and every day
so now lies you're at Monday,
and now we're at Monday, and lies are piling up. Like literally every day they're lying to me.
Fidium sits on a throne of lies.
Yes. So I get more irate and more irate. Oh, and by the way, now as of Monday, I'm spending at least 2 hours on the phone every day with them. So Monday rolls by, Tuesday rolls by, Wednesday rolls by.
Wow.
Thursday in the morning, And I've been talking to them every day, and every day they're saying, yeah, somebody will be over there tomorrow, or it'll, we'll get it fixed by tomorrow, whatever. Thursday rolls around, and they said, so we know that there's a break in the line, and we should be able to have somebody start working on it by Friday.
Holy cow. So a whole 7-day week is going by.
Yep. And I said, no. and I escalated as much as I could possibly escalate it. And they said, somebody is in the area. They'll be there. They'll be in the area in 15 minutes. They'll be working on it. And you should have internet by the end of the day. And this was on Thursday.
Okay.
Never happened. So I call them Thursday. Oh,
quick
go
question.
ahead. Yeah.
Is it just your house, or is it your area?
No. So to be fair, it could have been other people in my area, because it was a job that needed to be fixed on the pole. So
you would think the more people that were affected, the faster they get the pole dancers out there.
I have another reason. I have another reason why it was delayed. I found out the other reason why it was delayed when we get there. So basically, Thursday I spent hours raising holy heck and escalating and escalating and escalating.
Give us an example of this holy heck you raised, because we only know the song Ender voiceover by Kurt.
Yeah. So they'll say, thank you. We're so sorry to hear about your situation, and trust me when I tell you that we're gonna work really hard to solve this inconvenience for you. And
no.
And at this point, I go, this, and they keep going. I go, no. You need to stop talking. And I go, this is not an inconvenience. This is preventing me from paying my rent. Every day that I'm out of service, I have money that I'm losing. And as of today, which was Thursday, I've lost about $800 because of your incompetence. So don't tell me it's an inconvenience. Escalate my situation to your supervisor.
This is a outside the building. The line needs to be fixed. That company theoretically could get sued for lots of money because a bunch of people presumably are down. Right. How does this not take precedent?
I have an answer to that.
Oh, crap.
Because they said, okay, we've just talked to dispatch. Somebody will be working on that Friday morning.
You're like, I'll believe it when I see it.
Later.
So, and I said that. I said, I'll believe it when I see it. But okay. So sure enough, Friday morning, I see line trucks, 2 of them for the company, working 2 blocks down from my house.
Oh, so it's definitely not just your house.
Right. Yeah. And so I'm going, okay. And I call to make sure, because now I'm not letting him off the hook. Good. I'm calling him.
Yeah, I kind of picture Kurt in his pink bathrobe, or no, his light brown bathrobe, like the dude from Big Lebowski, and his flip flops like, hey man, go down the truck. Y'all fixing that, right, man? I've been down for a week, man. Come on.
So during this, I had raised and to my cost raised the level of my hotspot on my phone, because you run out of high-speed internet after X amount of gig of data.
50 usually,
yeah. 50 after you raise it once. The first time was 30. Then I raised it to 50. Then I raised it again.
Oof.
And they so I'm sitting there doing the bare minimum so I can keep the high speed as much as possible. Disconnect all the devices in the house except for my computer. Everything. And around 3:00, the internet pops on.
Ooh.
And I went, okay. And I go out front to check the trucks, and 2 of the techs from the trucks are walking up to my door. And I said, and they said, we just wanted to check to make sure you were up and running. And I said, yeah, it just popped on.
They probably had big red notes. Check that house.
Well, so I kind of went into it.
Will come out.
I kind of went into it with them, and they go, "We don't understand. This line was broken." And I said, "Yeah, I know." And and they said, "In our job sheet, it said it was a new installation, not a repair."
What is going on?
And so they said, if we knew it was a repair, you would have been prioritized because something's broken. It's not a new installation. We can put off new installations. Because they don't have it to begin with, right? You can, and I went, oh, that makes way more sense. And I went into it with them, and they said, yeah, they won't let us talk to anybody because I kept saying, put me through to dispatch, me through to dispatch. Let me know. Let me talk to them.
They don't even talk to them, right? They get just things on their tablets to say.
Well, so they accidentally had transferred me to dispatch once.
Okay.
When they were trying to put me on hold, they accidentally transferred me to dispatch. And I'm just going, holy crap. And I got to the point where it said, press 1 for a service. And I went to click the 1 and it hung up on me. Oh, like they hung up on me.
Click.
Yep. And then they called me back like 5 minutes later. I was like, okay. But yeah, the outside texts are like going, yeah, it's terrible because they don't tell us anything. And so all we heard was, can you fix this guy? He won't stop calling us.
Wow.
So
you still have the tech from the Friday previous that said, yeah, it's a broken line.
Yeah.
And you know they have to put crap in their reports to send back.
Because that's what I do for a living. I literally dispatch techs. So I said, I'm not going to call them about compensation today. I'm going to let myself take the weekend, calm down a little bit. I'll call them on Monday. So I called them on Monday, and they said,
sitting in their office owning their asses.
Well, so I called them on Monday, and they said, and this was somebody that's actually employed, not a subcontracting support service.
Okay.
So that makes a difference.
Big problem, right? When it's subcontracted, they just hit buttons.
Right. So the woman I was talking to, she said, "Oh, I can't believe that happened." I went through the whole story with her. She goes, "I feel for you. That's ridiculous." And I said, "Okay." So she goes, so I said, "I know that you're going to offer me a credit for the time that I was down, but I'm going to tell you right now that's not enough because I am currently in the promotional rate for my fiber, which for the 8 days without internet, because it's all day Friday and all day the next Friday, the 8 days that I was down without internet would have amounted to about $15 in credit.
In credit, yeah.
And I said, so I'm going to tell you right now, that won't fly. I basically said, here's how much I lost during the week. And I basically went through and said, I can show you jobs that I missed out on. I can show you jobs that were pulled away from me because I was not able to follow up on them.
And how do you get paid? Do you get paid by the job or by the hour? Or?
So I was only talking about voiceover. I wasn't even talking about my regular day job.
Okay.
So my regular day job, that's I could have quantified that as well. But I'm averaging nowadays, about $100 a day in voiceover work. And
okay. Good for you.
Yeah.
Not bearing that lead, but good, man.
Yeah.
We're going to have that as a how do I at some point.
Right. Sure. Well, look, it's taken me 10 years to get here. So there's that. But and I said, and I can show you a list of all the jobs that I probably would have taken, except I couldn't. And then all of that. So they said, well, so I can tell you that I can give you $50 plus the credit. And I said, yeah, so why don't we just cut to the chase? You're going to need to escalate this to your boss. I said, I understand you're trying to help me. And she was being very helpful. And I said, so I'm not mad at you, but this just it's not good enough. And they came, and I didn't expect I was going to get the entire amount, not by any stretch. And I said, we went back and forth, and they said, okay, I can give you $100 plus credit for the time that you were down, plus we'll give you 2 months free on top of that.
Which amounts to
so the whole thing amounts to about $225, $250, something like that. Not great, and I said, well, how about this? What if you extend my promotional rate for an extra year? I was trying to be creative, trying to be helpful.
Like a plan, sure.
And they said, our system won't let us do that because if we cancel your current promotional rate, it'll just it'll take away the rate and you'll end up paying that until the next time comes around. And I went, okay, that's a terrible system, but how about this? How about if you just put a note in my file that says, on my anniversary, I will be calling to extend the promotional rate. Now, do I believe that's going to happen? No. Not by any stretch. But I was trying to work with them. Like at this point, sure. I was trying to work with them. But I know I got more than they would have given most people. And mainly because I had to be really, really noisy, which stinks. It's terrible. It's terrible service. It really is. It's the worst kind of service. And ironically, the internet, when I'm not really, other than this outage, which was a physical break, I've had no issues with the internet. It's been great. But the service and the support, I'm still telling people to run away as fast as they can. Don't sign up. So
that is,
it was terrible. And I was not a nice person to be around all that week because I was getting more incensed every day.
Yeah. I mean,
and so here's the other kicker. Normally, I would have said to any of the people who work for me, well, you know what? We have an office in Bedford. Just go work out of the office while your internet's down.
Okay.
Cool. Great. My wife is disabled and I have to be at home to take care of her while I'm working.
Well, I guess she's going to suck it up, Buttercup. She's going to have to for herself for 8 hours.
Yeah. That's not the way that works.
I know.
So yeah, it was not good. So I'm glad that that's behind me now. I can't even imagine if that went even longer.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I thought my problems with which I won't go into now, but I thought my problems with AT&T when they screwed me over at one point. I thought that was bad. Yours is way worse.
This is the worst I've ever seen. Like I've had other issues with other companies and things like that, whatever. But this is the worst. Just blatant disregard for the customer.
Just because I feel it's on somebody's mind. If I'd listened to this podcast, I'd be asking this question. Someone asked a question. I assume that once you learned that tech came out on that first Saturday, right? You're down for 24 hours ish. And he said, the line is broken. I imagine every time you called, let me ask the question. Did you mention more than once that that you were an active customer and the physical line was broken?
Oh, yes. Especially since the first time I talked to a support person after that, they said, we saw that the tech had visited your house, but we don't have any notes as to what he did.
Liar!
Yeah, I don't believe that either, because that's how you lose your job if that stuff isn't there.
As a tech, right?
Yeah. And and the comedy of errors the whole time. Literally, I got an automated call on Wednesday saying that a tech would be at my house the day before.
Wait, so you got a call on Wednesday saying they would be there on the Tuesday before?
Yep. So it was December 5th. No. December 5th, I got the phone call. And the automated call said, and again, December 5th, and the automated call said, a tech will be at your place between the hours of 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on December 4th.
Holy
I'm not even sure how a system works like that. Like,
yeah.
But that was the other thing. The visit windows that, usually with Comcast or whatever, they say, we'll be there between 8 and 12 or 10 and 1 or whatever. They give you a 2 to 4 hour window, right? They gave me 2 windows this time. One of them was 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And the next one was 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And I'm going, you know how ridiculous that is?
That's not a window. That's a portal into the else world.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, we might be there sometime today, maybe. If
they
we're
weren't.
feeling like it.
And they weren't either time.
Oh, man.
Wow, dude.
It was ridiculous. Like, just every piece that could have gone wrong did. And terrible customer service to boot. Like, just liars. Just outright liars.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. So, sorry, that was a very long, drawn out story, but I get a little heated when I'm talking about that particular thing.
No, that's what we wanted. I wanted to hear all this. That's crazy. It is cold. Fortunately, cold doesn't affect internet. Internet doesn't affect your heat. But many of us get space heaters, right? So this is the how do I learn about space heaters, because I've learned more and more with my family, things that would kind of make sense to me don't. So for everybody out there who wants to know why their space heaters keep cutting off, let's talk about it, shall we? So my wife loves space heaters, and I buy her these round ones that puts heat out in all directions, right?
That's the exact same one that I have down next to my foot.
Oh, funny.
Right, because it's Honeywell. It's a generic brand. It's everywhere you want to be, and it puts it out in all directions. So it works for her. And 2 things happen. She likes to put her feet on the top of it, and so does my daughter, and both my daughters, and they rock it. Well, all space heaters have a safety button on the bottom. So step number 1 about learning about space heaters is they have a safety on the bottom. So if it's not sitting flat on the floor, it will cut off so it doesn't burn your freaking house down.
Yeah.
That's number 1. And so, of course, they actually know that one, because you hear now, at least with these Honeywells, you hear click, 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 click when the thing is being done and undone. But then my wife keeps turning up the heat, like maxing it out, and like, why is it cutting off? I don't know what level of sun that you want to walk on when you turn this up. However, these things are designed to not kill you. So you have it under a blanket or next to the couch, between the table and the couch. Right? So not a lot of space. Space heaters need space to heat. They have thermometers inside of them, most of these, that they'll cut off at a certain temperature, right? They also have a safety feature that when you max this thing out and it gets too hot internally, it cuts off. So I keep having to educate them on that. It's like, stop turning it up to the max, because it reads, when you put it next to a desk, and I'm about to talk about the one next to my desk, because my daughter, bless her heart, doesn't know how heat works, and she's 17. It keeps cutting out, and then she keeps fussing. I'm like, no, the heater is fine. It needs, especially round ones, they're designed to go into the middle of a room and put heat out, and so it's supposed to take a while for it to come back. So I'm sure there's some kind of design, and you sciencey tech geeks can tell me if you know about it. But I'm sure on these ones that are supposed to put out a lot of heat, they're probably designed to register with a delay, right? But when you put it in a small space, like under a desk or between a table and a couch, that heat's coming back pretty fast. Mm-hmm. So it's probably registering as hotter than it is, and it cuts off. So that's number 2. You got to give space to your heaters. And number 3, before I turn it over to these awesome and well geeked out young gentlemen, is I have this new one. So I bought a bunch of new ones. This one's just from Amazon Basics. It's nice. It's got the big punch on the bottom. It works. And my daughter said, yeah, by the way, she plugged both heaters up into the power strip that also has one of my LED lights on it, has my camera on it, and my soundboard that boosts my headphones on it. Which I've told them, you don't plug space heaters into freaking power strips, because that's not how that works. So I asked her, because she'd been playing games, and I said, hey, did you leave the heat on? She said, no, I didn't know if you'd want it. I'm like, okay, it's dropping down to like 29 degrees while I do the show tonight. I'm going to want a space heater in this outdoor studio that I have. But I come in and I turn on my space heater, Joe, And now she had turned it off, but she kept saying, well, I had to plug in both because it kept cutting off. Do you see where that temperature knob is set? Now, for those of you playing this home game we call the podcast,
all the way down,
because it's done in thin lines all the way up to thick lines. And the thin line at the end of it has a minus, and the thick line at the end of it has a plus. So that should tell anybody you turn it towards the plus to get more heat. Yeah, she had it turned all the way down. I couldn't figure out why it kept cutting off.
Which means it keeps cutting off at a lower temperature when it registers a lower temp.
Yeah. It's hit 63. It doesn't need to keep going.
Oh, man.
I mean, and I'm like, she's a smart girl. And I'm going to have to give her grief about this because none of my kids or my family will watch my show or listen to it, but that's okay. But I mean, I came in and all night. Fourth, here's a little bonus. That's third. Third is turn the heat to a medium temperature, a decent temperature. Give it space, number 2, and make sure it's flat, number 1. And it will warm up. So I got another one behind me. You can't quite see on the camera. It's right about there. If you can see, it's little. This is a little ceramic heater. And this space is 16 foot by 12 foot. And then it's almost 20 feet tall. Now, the barn above me is right at 10 feet, but then there's storage above it. And it's all insulated down here, but not up there, right? So, and heat rises, and there's an opening to get up into the storage and all that. That little heater on medium, I'm getting a little warm right now, to be honest with you. I've turned off the heater next to me because here's the other little trick. Here's the bonus. I wore flip-flops out here tonight. I know it's going to be cold going across the yard, but with your bare feet, and I just turned on this little heater, turned it to like 3 or 4 heat spaces up. And of course, it blasts out at 1 or 2, 2 being the max. I put it at 1. And I put it away from my desk, but pointed it at my desk to go underneath. It got warm pretty quickly. So there is my tirade on space heaters. What do you guys, did I miss something, guys? How do we educate the public on how to use space heaters appropriately? Because my wife would be comfortable in this barn, and yet she would have sat on top of that space heater behind me and turned it up and killed it.
One of the only things I will add is the first time you turn it on for the season, expect it to stink, and you might even set off your fire alarms. So,
yeah, they get the dust in them and it burns out, and yeah.
Yep.
Wear a sweater.
Now I did text Kurt. I knew exactly what I was doing. I texted him like, Kurt, it's. I didn't use super cold. I said something else, but like, it's super cold right now. He's like, aren't you in Georgia? I'm like, 29 is cold anywhere, man. I was like, come on. But we've got cold and humid. I've got nice.
Yeah, we've got that humidity that just chills through layers.
Yep. So yeah,
but it's really not that cold.
Come on, old man Winter. Tell us what's going on up in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
I ran out to the pharmacy after dinner tonight. It was 23 degrees. So I put on my sweatshirt.
Oh yeah, I rarely wear more than a sweatshirt.
Yeah.
That's not something to brag about. It's cold.
It's not that cold.
It's not that cold.
It's not that cold. I'll give you it starts getting cold when you're in the teens. It starts getting cold when you're in the teens.
Well, didn't you listen to your Nana when she said, if you go out in the cold and you don't dress appropriately, you will get sick, which will give you freaking fever dreams. That's the show, everybody. Get the heck out. Warm up. Get out of here. I don't want to talk to these fools no more. It's all good. Thank you, bros. Good to be back. Happy New Year, everybody.
Follow these nerdy dads on social media. Charles
Shut up,
at
Mike.
Rock God of Podcasting. Joe at Joseph_Ard. Check out the website, wiseandnerdy.com. And as always,
The VO by Kurt.
he'll always be your daddy.
Now's when you get to say, check out VO by Kurt.
Check out VO by Kurt everywhere you find your VO by Kurt.
I definitely check out This Week in the MCU.
Oh, yeah, Daddy.
Now you do that all the time. Stop it. Hey kids, next time you get your mom talking to you, go, whatever, Grinch, and see what happens.
Get slapped upside the head.
That's possible. So yes, where's the couch? I took it. It's been gone for weeks, and you haven't noticed till now. And that's hilarious. But
well, you haven't shifted to show stuff behind you until.
Yeah, I was going to ask too.
But it's in my office, my new office at my new building.
The $1 million building.
Yeah, the $1 million building, man. And it looks really good there, and it suits what I'm doing. And the table went with it. And because I've always looked at the table and went, man, real nice liquor would actually look really good on this table. And somebody actually got me. I'll take a picture of it for next week, maybe. I'll take a picture of it at some point and we'll show it on the stream. But it's